day, math buddies! Welcome to another video where we will be learning all about mathematics in an exciting and interesting way. But before that, I would like to say thank you to all of you for showing your generosity in subscribing to my YouTube channel. Thank you so much for the support. And for those who are new, please don't hesitate to leave a comment, like, and subscribe. And of course, hit the notification bell for more updated videos. Sir Sherwin here, your instructor, ready to serve you. Most of us are having difficulty in solving mathematical problems, especially if we are engaging with fractions. So for today's video, join me as we learn on how to add and subtract fractions. But before that, let us try to learn some mathematical terms. First, fraction. Fraction represents equal parts of a whole. It is illustrated in terms of figure, in terms of symbol, and in terms of words. This illustration is an example of a fraction written in symbol as 3/10 and in words 3/10. Let us also determine the parts of a fraction. Here, a over b. A is known as the numerator, an expression above our fraction bar. Fraction bar is named as vinculum, while b is an example of a denominator wherein this expression is present under our fraction bar. Let us also determine proper fraction. Proper fraction is a fraction in which numerator is less than the denominator. Examples are 1/6, 3/8, and 2/9. Let's also identify an improper fraction. It is a fraction in which numerator is greater than the denominator. Examples are 3/2, 5/3, and 9/7. Here, the numerator is greater than the denominator. How about mixed number? Mixed number is composed of a whole number and a proper fraction. Examples: 7 and 1/2, 4 and 2/3, 10 and 5/7. Similar fractions. These are fractions with same or like denominator. Example: 1/6, 4/6, 7/6, and n/6. Here, our denominator is 6, and they are the same, so this is an example of similar fractions. Dissimilar fractions. Dissimilar fractions are fractions with different or unlike denominator. Example: 1/6, 1/5, 1/9, and n/2. Here, our denominators are different. Equivalent fractions. Equivalent fractions are fractions with different numerators and denominators that represent the same value or proportion of the whole. Examples: 1/2, 2/4, 5/10. Based on an illustration, they are considered equivalent fractions. This would be the fundamental principle of fraction. If both the numerator and denominator of a fraction are multiplied or divided by the same non-zero number, the value of the fraction is not changed. This time, let us proceed with the addition and subtraction of similar fractions. These are the things we need to remember in adding or subtracting similar fractions. First, add or subtract numerators. Second, copy the denominator. And third, write answer in lowest term. Let us be ready with our first example. Let us add 5/9 and 2/9. So adding similar fractions 5/9 and 2/9, all we need to do is to add the numerator. Here, numerators are 5 and 2. Adding it, that is 7. Then copy the denominator 9. 7/9 is considered as a fraction written in lowest term. Therefore, this would be considered as our final answer. Let's have example number 2. Add 1/6 and 2/6. 1/6 and 2/6 is an example of similar fractions. Again, adding this, we will simply add the numerator 1 and 2 and copy the denominator, which is 6. Therefore, the answer is 3/6. But in this case, this is not yet written in lowest term. So we need to look for their greatest common factor. So we need to divide 3/6 by 3. That is equal to 1/2. Therefore, 3/6 can be written as 1/2. So 1/2 is our final answer for this example. Add 4/11 and 9/11. Adding these two, add only the numerator and copy the denominator. 4 plus 9, the sum is 13 all over 11. But in this case, our fraction is an improper fraction. So we need to simplify this. 1 and 2/11. How about subtracting 5/9 and 3/9? 5 minus 3, that is 2. And again, copy the denominator. So 2/9 is our final answer. Let's have 13 over 15 or 13/15 and 8/15. 13/15 minus 8/15 is equal to 5/15 is not yet written in lowest term. So we will look for the greatest common factor. We need to divide both sides by 5. 5 divided by 5, that is 1. 15 divided by 5, that is 3. 5 over 15 is equal to 1/3. Let us add and subtract dissimilar fractions. Let's try to remember this. Look for the LCD or the least common denominator of dissimilar fractions. Write the equivalent fractions to make it similar fractions. Perform the operations using the steps provided for similar fractions, wherein we will add the numerator or subtract the numerator and copy the denominator. Let us have our first example. Add 4/9 and 1/3. Here, 4/9 and 1/3 is an example of dissimilar fractions. So for us to simplify this, all we need to do is to look for the common multiple between 9 and 3. So 9 has multiples 9, 18, 27, and so on. While 3 has multiples 3, 6, 9, 12, and so on. So the least common multiple between 9 and 3 is 9. So in this case, our least common denominator now is 9. So we will write the equivalent fraction of 4/9. So it is still 4/9, while equivalent fraction of 1/3, it is now 3/9. So we can now combine these two terms, add our numerator, and copy the denominator. So answer here is 7/9. Let us proceed with our next example. Add 2/7 and 2/5. 2/7 and 2/5 can be simplified if we will have a common denominator. So first thing that we will do is to look for their common multiple. So let's start with 7. 7 has multiples 7, 14, 21, 28, 35, and so on. While 5 has multiples 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, and so on. So the LCM, least common multiple between 7 and 5, would be 35. Thus, 35 can be considered as their common denominator. So, common denominator now, it's 35. So, we will write the equivalent fraction of 2/7, and that is 10/35, or 10 over 35. While 2/5 has equivalent fraction 14/35, or 14 over 35. Then we can combine these two by adding our numerator and copying the denominator. Final answer would be 24/35. Let's have our next example. Add 1/4 and 4/5. So again, look for the common multiple between 4 and 5. So 4 has multiples 4, 8, 12, 16, 20, and so on. For 5, multiples are 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, and so on. So here, the least common multiple would be 20. So we can write the equivalent fraction of 1/4, that is 5 over 20, and 4/5 is 16 over 20. So we can combine these two, and that is 21 over 20. So we can write the final answer in mixed number, that is 1 and 1 over 20. So let us try to have the next example. Subtract 9/10 and 1/5. 9/10 minus 1/5 can be simplified if we will look for the LCD of these two fractions. So denominators are 10 and 5. So first we need to get the multiples of 10. Those are 10, 20, 30, and so on. While for 5, we have 5, 10, 15, and so on. The least common multiple between 10 and 5 is 10. So therefore, the LCD of these fractions would be 10 as well. So let us write the equivalent fraction. 9/10 can be written as 9/10, while 1/5 can be written as 2/10. So we can now subtract these two fractions, subtract our numerator, 9 minus 2, and copy the denominator, which is 10. So the result is 7/10. For our next example, let us subtract 8/9 by 2/3. So 8/9 minus 2/3. So multiples of 9 would be 9, 18, 27, and so on. For 3, we have 3, 6, 9, and so on. The LCM between these two terms would be 9. So common denominator now, it's 9. Writing the equivalent fraction of 8/9 is still 8/9. And equivalent fraction of 2/3 now is 6/9. So simplify this. So the result is 2/9. Now, it is your turn. Try to add and subtract the following fractions. Hope you learned something new today. So thank you so much for watching. And God bless us all.